After a break of almost 8 years, Gold Explorer Tembo Gold, trading on the TSX with the symbol TEM, aims to pick up exploration and drilling at its high-grade gold project of the same name in a matter of only days. The company is fully funded after closing a spectacular deal with industry giant Barrick Gold earlier this year. Tembo CEO David Scott will give us more details on the company's plan to gold today. If you would like to see more interviews with mining CEOs like this and hear more interesting stories from the mining space, be sure to subscribe to the GOLDINVEST YouTube channel, for example, at the bottom of the screen. Welcome, David.
Good day, Bjorn.
David, as this is our first interview, please briefly introduce yourself and the team to our audience.
Sure. My name is David Scott. I'm an African by birth, born in Central Africa. I'm a geologist. I've been practicing geology for the past 43 years, and most of that time I've spent in the gold industry. I'm the CEO and a director of Tembo Gold. I have been since the middle of 2011, since June 2011, so it's a full 11 years now.
Okay, so it's been a while that you're with Tembo. And well, summer here in Germany is coming up fast, but it's fair to say that Tembo Gold is sort of experiencing a second spring after that pause of several years that I alluded to. Though drilling is expected to start any day now, or perhaps even has started. Please shortly explain what the holdup was, also in respect to the last few weeks.
Certainly. Yeah, unfortunately, when we did our last drilling program in 2014, the financing stream that we had in place with a new Africa Mining Fund was terminated. The fund was actually closed prematurely, and we were expecting funds from them. So that, together with the state that junior mining, and particularly gold, and particularly Tanzania, were in at that stage, meant that we were unable to raise funding. I knew the value of the Tembo project, and for that reason, I decided not to move on. We were unable to take salaries, but we looked after the company, we looked after the licenses for the 7 years. And of course, things have really looked up gold price-wise in the last 7 years. And industry-wise, things have improved as well. Particularly Tanzania has improved. With new president as of last year, very positive for investors, and mining and exploration is really on the forefront of the government's minds in terms of revenue for their treasury.
Well, yes, we also saw some pretty significant news from Barrick Gold, which is active. And that brings us into the next subject before we talk about the drill program. You did a pretty spectacular deal with Barrick Gold early this year, which, among other things, left you with a nicely filled treasury. Please shortly take us through that deal.
Sure. Firstly, I just want to say that I think the confidence that they have demonstrated by actually entering a transaction of this nature with us speaks, I think, volumes about the quality of the Tembo project and the ground that we've held. So in brief, we increased our area over the past 7 years from 110 square kilometers to 174 by picking up some additional ground, which added on to the package that we already had. And we also consolidated from 40 odd licenses, we consolidated those, and we now went to 7. I started the discussion with Barrick in December of 2020. I met with the chief operating officer, and initially they wanted a joint venture. That was not in our favor at all, because it really gave us no value. So after a few months of back and forward, very friendly discussions, we came up with the deal that we have. They purchased our non-core licenses because we hadn't worked on them, and we had no intention of working immediately on them anyway, and may well have lost them. They purchased those from us for a cash payment of $6 million US. They also undertook to spend $9 million on those licenses within a period of 4 years. And on discovery, they will pay us an additional amount of cash. They also, and I think this was really another feather in our cap, they also purchased 5.5% of our equity in the Canadian listed entity. And I think that's a real expression of support for us.
Yeah, that's certainly also, as the deal itself, it's another vote of confidence, I would say, and that they see potential in the company itself, not only in the licenses they picked up. So, as we said, that left you with a lot of cash. So to get very active indeed, and you're back on the ground, going to get running. Now, tell us about the drill program you have planned. Where and what will Tembo focus on? How big is the program going to be, and how long is it going to take?
Sure. We drilled 42,000 meters between 2012 and 2014. There had been about 8,000 meters drilled prior to Tembo in the Lakota days. And what we did was a very simple philosophy. Where there was artisanal mining, we would drill underneath those workings. And using airborne mag, we would define the structure that we were targeting and drill under those workings. And really from the very first holes that we drilled, we were intersecting basically economic intersections of gold, the really, really good gold intersections. So on 3 targets, we focused a lot of the drilling, most of the drilling on 3 targets, Ngula 1, Nakagwe Village, and Nakagwe East. I would say Ngula 1 gave us the best results. And what we're going to do now is we're going to follow up on those 3 targets. We're going to follow up with boreholes that will intersect close to those original very good holes, define the structure for us, and then we're going to start chasing those structures down plunge. Any geologist working in our camp will tell you that these ore bodies never bottom out. Certainly, I've never seen an ore body that bottomed out. They continue to depths where you cannot mine anymore. So we're going to follow those zones down, and in the process of doing that, obviously, we'll be starting to build a geological model, which hopefully will give us a good resource. So this program is really to initiate resource drilling. Not saying that we would make an announcement immediately, obviously. Total meterage on the 3 targets is 7,000 meters. We've also allocated some meters for some new targets that we defined through a project that we did with GoldSpot, reinterpreting all the data. And we'll put a few holes into some new targets as well, just to start broadening our potential target picture. Again, many targets we have. There's 39 targets that GoldSpot identified on our property, aside from the 3 that I've mentioned. So there's a lot of work to be done.
It sounds like it. Is it? Let me just jump in there. Is GoldSpot, they are using sort of AI and machine learning to find additional targets, right?
Exactly. We had numerous we used to have bi-weekly meetings with them. They had a team of geophysicists, geochemists, geologists, and others, and computer people as well. And they ran all of our data through, and other data from the region through their AI and machine learning software, and came up with these 54 licenses, which targets, which are, we knew they were there, we just had never quantified them and put a spot on the ground and said, this is where it is. So we're going to start testing those. And you may recall that our entire area is covered. So we're quite dependent on using remote sensing and things like machine learning to identify good target areas. And so we'll be following up on those.
Very well. 7,000 meters to begin with. Sounds like a pretty substantial program. Now, you already said what your goal is. So give you a start on modeling, on seeing where to follow up later at depth or down plunge. Would you say that a resource might be feasible to release in 2022 already? Will you do metallurgical studies or tests during the course of the year?
Yeah, I think it'll be 2023 before we release the resource. Unfortunately, the startup of the program was somewhat delayed because of the process that we had to go through with the government here to get approval of our contractor, as well as concluding the Barrick deal. Obviously, we were waiting for those funds to land in our treasury. I expect that we will start modeling in-house towards the end of the first quarter of 2023. And depending on how that looks, obviously we'd expect to make an announcement sometime during 2023 and expand the drill program.
Well, as I said, there's lots of work to do for this year then, and it probably feels pretty good to get going again. Now, looking out to the future further, what is your overall strategy for Tembo Gold, your exit strategy? Say it all goes well, you find gold. Do you want to build a mine, or do you just hope to prove up enough resources and or reserves to attract the major who then takes out Tembo or the project? Barrick come to mind, obviously.
Yeah, given the extent of the artisanal workings on the property, we believe that there's opportunity here for the discovery of a number of possibly multi-million ounce deposits. Currently, Barrick, our neighbor at Bulyanhulu mine, are mining. All their mining production comes from beneath their shaft bottom, below 1,000 meters. So they really need some shallow ore, which is why they were so keen and eager to get our ground and bought the licenses that we sold to them. They will be looking very eagerly at our work progress. The license we've retained is really it's the apple in the center. It really is a good license. It's got most of the artisanal workings. The indications of gold are very, very significant. So if we make a shallow discovery, I would expect that they or another party, we have no obligations to engage with them on it, but they would be eager to get some shallow ounces from us to supplement their deep mining. They have extensive ore resources and reserves below 1,000 meters, 20, 30 years of life. So anything they can get that's shallow will help them a lot.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Good to know. So to wrap it up, why, in your opinion, should investors take a closer look at Tembo Gold now at this point in time?
I think the reasons are fairly clear. We're in a very good gold district. The Lake Victoria goldfield, most mines have started on 1 million or more ounces and have grown as the mine has progressed into multi-million ounce deposits. We've had the drill results that are clearly indicative of some very good high-grade gold mineralization, and I think it's just a matter of time before the resource starts to get to build up. We're on the ground. We've got a very good facility for our camp. We're ready to go. I've got 20 years experience in this country and all of that in the gold field. So, we're solid technically. We have a very good exploration manager, also with extensive Tanzanian experience. And I think we're ripe to turn this into a really good big project. We wanted to do that earlier. Unfortunately, circumstances didn't allow it, and I think now the time is right.
Okay, thank you very much. Sounds like a good closing remark. The time is right, and we'll be certainly watching to see how it goes and eagerly await for drilling to begin. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you, Bjorn. It's a pleasure talking to you.